got embarrassed by the Marlins. The Sunday night fade came to fruition as the Braves got embarrassed by the Marlins. Do they get their revenge tonight? I'm heavily invested.
Yeah, I'm so fresh like the morning. Mouth wide open like they yawning. Every time they see me, they in G-Shock. Homie, this is too far. Homie, I feel too alive. You can see me like Illuminati. You can see me like Illuminati. But I'm trying to...
Welcome to the closing line. You know, it's tribal knowledge in the sports betting industry to believe that there's no value in betting lines late. The lines have already been pounded into shape. Well, I spent the better part of 4 years disproving that theory with the market efficiency database. Lines move too much, they don't move enough, or they don't move it at all. In any case, the bookies are giving us a clue with every move they make. Let's see if we can find some value. Before we do that, let me hop into the chat. I mean, I know we got the best gang. PSR gang is always in chat, representing, showing support. I've been a fan of this community for years. And if you're back in the shadows like I was for the first few years watching the channel, hop in. Tell me you're watching. I seen a few guys hop in earlier. They were working. Blue collar guys in here, absolutely grinding. And that's what we're going to do today. So I see my guy, Ron Lofton, Old E. Yep, Spreadsheet Gang Unite. I'm about to show some pivot tables today. A little snapshot of some of the pivot tables from the database. I'm looking forward to that. But I'm going to have to I'm going to have to keep it tight because today's really going to test my internal clock. MLB is my wheelhouse. I would love to spend a few hours just hammering the MLB lines, but we got the play-in tournament in the NBA. We got the final week of the NHL. There's no time to waste, man. So let's get to it. First game up, Orioles and the D-backs. And this line is pretty interesting. And whatever RotoWire was showing yesterday with the pitching situation was completely off because you wake up today to find Rogers and Merrill Kelly in the matchup. Right now, 75% of bets, 62% of cash is coming in on the O's on Action Network. So the public is hammering them at the public shops. Odds Logic got 58% of bets, 67% of cash on the O's. The line is plummeting on the old D-backs today. The line's moving 15 or more cents at almost every book known to man towards the Orioles. The total opened 8.5. It got up to 9.5 at one point. Right now it's sitting at 9. But it might potentially get up. Actually, I'm seeing that it's back now juiced towards the under. And I'm seeing an 8.5 on the screen, which is crazy because then it came full circle, U-shaped line move on the total. The market history in this spot with the line closing between 175 and 150, moving towards the home team, it favors the road team, quite frankly. Sometimes the lines move a little bit too much. This might be one of the cases. But if you actually dive into the spot, specific spot with the market moving towards the over, if this closes with the move to the over, it's going to narrow the sample down, and it's going to show a margin of victory for this home team, suggesting the home team's going to win by margin. You know, you got two pitchers on the mound. Rogers is a stud pitcher. I mean, his numbers, he's a Cy Young candidate at the moment with a 2.36 xERA. Arizona's pretty good versus left-handed pitching, but Merrill Kelly's really the big question mark. I don't think he's fully capable of a quality start today because if we look at all the veteran pitchers and what they did their first game out of the gate this season, it was not good, you know, and if you look back at Merrill Kelly's resume, his history, he's fully capable of a quality start. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's an average pitcher in the MLB, and that's saying something because there's a lot of pitchers out there that are ass, but he's fully capable of a good start. But that's 1 out of every 3 or 4 games. So I'll be looking towards the Orioles in the spot. No way I could go up against that line movement. And I don't know if we're going to have a lot of action in that game. I feel like all the value's gone. Don't see a lot of love for either 12-1 spot for Arizona. Jermaine, my guy, you're saying 12-1 spot. What are you saying? You're saying the Arizona Diamondbacks going to win 12-1, or it's a 12-1 trend you're looking at in Killer Sports in the database? Let's keep it rolling here. We're looking at the Phillies and the Cubs, and this is a game that I'm very interested in because, I mean, we're getting mixed signals in the market currently and pretty much all day long. You're going to have to excuse me. I've gotten a little sick. I'm losing my voice a little bit. So the cash flow right now, I mean, we're looking at all this action coming in on the Philadelphia side of things on the Phillies. Action Network showing 19% of bets, 16% of cash on the Cubs. Actually, Odds Logic, 54% of bets, 74% of cash on the Cubs. That's completely flipped from earlier today where we've seen all the action coming in on the Phillies. So sharp action on the Phillies. We're starting to see that line respond a little bit here late, but all day, I mean, this game's completely a question mark to me because some books are showing a move towards Philly, others are showing a move towards Cubs. These moves are becoming bigger as the day goes on, so there's a clear difference of opinion in the market from the bookies. The total's moving towards the over heavily, and it's very rare that we see this big of a move towards the over, especially early. There's no games in my database, no games in my sample that happened with a 2-point move, with a 1.5-point move or more in April and May. Usually these lines are pretty stagnant, especially with the total. And I would like to give some top context of how I wield the database in a situation like this. And I have a graphic, and I don't know if we have it ready because there's some technical difficulties heading into this spot. But looking at this line open, looking at this total range, I have 150 games in my database. All these markets are moving towards the over. If the line moves towards the home team in the spot, they win 63% of the time. That's a plus EV bet. If the line moves towards the road team, they only win 50% of the time. That's well below the break even for this price range. And I would be looking towards the Cubs at this point, based on how this market's currently, the composition of this market, or the configuration of this market, I should say. I'm not a big believer in either of these two pitchers. I think at this point in their careers, it's pretty much a wash. But right now, what Ray is doing, he's on pace to have a career year. Pretty neutral splits, home roads, so it might be a good spot for Ray. But Nola, I know I'm just like Jimmy the Bat because I was right there with him, fading Nola in his last outing in Colorado. But he has good numbers against this Cubs lineup. Both bullpens relatively healthy. I would be probably looking towards the Cubs, and I was looking towards the over. But this total got too far away at this point. Too far away. Anyone on the Cubs in the chat? I don't see a lot of love for either of these two teams at the moment. I was thinking about moving on the Cubs. This price is getting a little hefty, and I could see the Cubs absolutely putting up offense today. But for now, I'm going to pass, and I'm going to have to move on to the next game, which I don't believe is one I'm very interested in either. And the Tigers and the Royals, I believe, is up next. Yeah, so looking on screen, this line opened 7.5. The total opened 7.5. It's up to 8. The line has really not changed very much on the side. I mean, we've seen this toggling back and forth with 5 cents one way or the other. Really tough to read line movements. You'd have to filter it down and really look at when it opened and closed is within a 5-cent range, because there's a lot of details you can find here. Unfortunately, not in this specific market, especially in division. This is largely a 50-50 market history for both sides. Right now, earlier today, I should say, because I don't know if I had updated this one. That's how disinterested I was based on the market history. Yeah, at action, I'm not surprised to see that all the action is coming on the Tigers. Over 80% plus of bets and cash coming on the Tigers. This line is just not moving. And if we look over here at odds logic, 51% of bets, 61% of cash, 51% of bets on Detroit, 61% of cash on KC. So you're seeing sharp action coming in on Reagans, who had his little injury in his last outing, cost me money as I was on the under. I'm off this game. I'm not very interested. I do want to back the Tigers at home. I don't know how the Royals, I keep thinking the Royals are going to get it together versus left-handed pitching. Over the past 2 years, it just hasn't been the case. I don't have a clear read in this game. What's up, 2 Cent? Nice to see you in here, man. Nice to see you in here, brother. So this is a game I'm gonna have to let this one go and pass it. I really hate to let a divisional market go because I really feel like the history of divisional markets is so exploitable. But I'm ready to kick this one to the curb and keep on running here. Try to keep it to, I really want to highlight and focus in on some games. So let's go on to the Reds and the Giants, which I got to get my stuff together here because, not much has changed. I mean, all the action per odds logic is coming in on San Francisco, whereas I guess you could say the same thing about Action Network in this situation. And this line is slightly moving in the favor of the Cincinnati Reds. I'm seeing an open of 112 to 115. This line's moved 3 cents. It's not moving very much. And honestly, if it wasn't for this extremely high total, I probably would be on the Reds in this case, but just based on the market history alone, because lower totals, home teams in this price range have been dominant. And I've taken a lot of advantage of that this season. This total, another one that had moved up to 9.5. It's starting to kick back towards 9 at the moment. So it depends on where you get it. You'll probably be able to find a 9.5 or a 9 in this market, and I can make a case for either the over or the under. When you look at the pitching matchup, I mean, this game is mispriced. What's going on here? Robbie Ray is a dog against Brady Singer, who's probably has the worst underlying metrics in all of baseball. You look at xERA, hard hit percent, xWOBA, all towards the bottom 5%. However, the Giants, absolutely terrible against right-handed pitching, 28th in the MLB with 73 WRC plus. I want to fade the over sentiment after watching all the overs in yesterday's games, and the Reds in the last 3 games, 15 runs, 10 runs, 12 runs respectively. It's just I want to back the under. Can we take Singer? Seeing this line move back to a 9, I think I'm ready to pull the trigger because I know that's going to fit a profitable market profile. So I'm going to add the under, and I'm running out of time with that game. I got about an hour left to get that in. So I'll be moving on the under in Reds Giants. Big Daddy Boom Boom. What's good, man? Prime VA. People starting to filter in. That's good because I got a real goodie bag coming up here, and a game is coming soon that I'm pretty heavily invested, as I alluded to in the opening. All right, let's keep running. I think next up is Pirates and Nationals, which, I mean, we know that it's only a matter of time before this Nationals team comes back to earth. And I think the same could be said slightly about the Pirates. I think what they're doing is a little bit more sustainable. But at this point, Pirates are becoming a public sweetheart. The bats are live. They have good pitching. I believe their bullpen is going to be one of the main reasons they show a lot of regression here in the near future. And right now, yeah, both action and the offshores, Odds Logic, are showing all the cash coming on the Pirates. And this line, as far as I can see, is relatively flat. And that's what it's showing in the graphic. It's showing a 5-cent move. I'm seeing it 5 cents, pretty much flat. I mean, there are some books, I believe. Bet Online had moved this about 10 cents. But when you see all this action coming in on what we know to be a public home favorite, it's just kind of scary to be on that side. And I don't have the market history to back it up. With how strong this line opened, though, in favor of the Pirates, I can only look towards the Pirates. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. Keller, a pitcher I believe in. He's reminiscent of Merrill Kelly, the epitome of an average pitcher, but he's having a great season, and I think he's capable of continuing that. Nicholas, he's done for. His good starts consist of multiple runs, a 2.0 whip, and I'm not interested in backing him at this point. So Pirates are pass. But for now, it's going to be a pass. Too big of a price. And, this team has to regress at some point. So I'm going to pass on that one. I'd like the Pirates to keep it up and make the playoffs this year. 9 legacy, my guy. I agree with you 100%, man. I was looking at futures, and then I'm like looking. They're first in the division, first in the NL Central. I do believe that they're live to make the playoffs with their pitching staff, 100%. And they play in a division that I think they match up well with. So it's definitely on the table. Some futures on the Pirates. With that, let's keep running. Yankees, Angels. And we already know a lot of the bets, majority of the bets, no matter where you look, are coming in on the Yankees. The sharp action's coming in on the other side of things. And this is a very interesting marketplace because we've seen a 10+ cent move towards the Yankees pretty much market wide. The total opened 8.5. It was juicing towards the over even more significantly based on what I had last seen. Yeah, it's at a 9.5. So we're up from an 8.5 all the way to a 9.5. We're seeing a big move on the side. And I know that, like, historically, people that really know me and what I'm doing with the database, they'd be like, this is a spot where Troy's going to want to be on the Yankees. But it's a pretty tight distribution. Like, the home team's winning between 57 and 64% of the time, which means value's on the Angels. And if we really narrow in on this profile, when you got a team closing between -200, -170, line moving towards them in non-division, they're not cashing at a plus EV clip. You add the total range, and it just keeps getting worse. You add all the bets coming on the Yankees, it keeps getting worse where it actually flips. And now the Angels, the road team, is winning over 50% of the games in this market history. So it's very surprising. Under that, between -170, -200, that's a danger zone. It's an absolute danger zone for home favorites. And honestly, I moved on this game. I didn't move on the full game because I don't have full faith in the entire game. But what I do have faith in is the first 5 market, because we're talking about this massive line move towards the Yankees on the full game. Well, what happened in the first 5 market? It's actually moving the other way. First of all, there's a huge discrepancy in the money line price between full game first 5. which is pretty normal, I would say. Maybe not this big, but this, pretty normal. But the difference is that first five line is not moving at all towards the Yankees, moving towards the Angels. So I did. I split a unit up on the Angels' first five money line and the plus a half. And I like my position there. I know I'm going head to head with a few people that believe that the Yankees bats are going to regress versus left-handed pitching. And I agree with you 100%. And they just had a very explosive night last night, but we've seen that before from the Yankees. They have an explosive night. And then what do they do the next day? They come out, they lay an egg. I'm not saying it's going to happen tonight, but I believe in Detmers. 2.49 xERA, 1.28 WHIP. This is a guy I backed 2 starts ago. He's been bad versus right-handed hitters, but last year he had reverse splits. And we know that right now the Yankees are the worst team in the MLB versus left-handed pitching. So I like the first five, isolate the lefty pitcher, and I like Weathers too, to be honest. So maybe the under is the right way to play this. I just can't go up against this monumental market move. Yankees run light last night screwed me. Oh, God, I couldn't even imagine sweating that game out. I've sweat a few Yankees games out, especially a few big games for me. And it's not fun sweating that damn team, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to probably my favorite game on the board. 100% is my favorite game on the board, and that's the Braves versus the Marlins. And I submitted a graphic to put up on display here for this game, and maybe we can get to that in a minute, but we're looking at 70% plus of bets and cash coming in on the Braves. Odds logic, 82% of bets, 69% of cash is coming in on the Braves. So we're seeing sharp action coming in on the Marlins. I know that if you look at Circle, you'll see that they're pretty much stagnant with their line, whereas everywhere else is showing a slight to moderately sized move towards the Braves. I kind of expect that to continue leading up to first pitch. And if we look at this market history, home teams have been dominant in division in this market environment. This is a price range. I don't know if you can pull it up, Vic, but I did. I sent one over to Jose. I was hoping to get a chance to talk about that, to show how I'm wheeling in the database. And I know if you've been following me on Twitter, you would have seen the game logs that I posted with all this information. But I would love to show the distribution of how this line movement has worked, because historically it's been such an accurate line move. 67% of the time, the way this line moves based on where this line opened in a divisional game, 67% accuracy rate. That's insane. And we're talking about samples that are approaching 60, 65 games. It's not a worthless sample. So, looking at when this market does, and based on the book that I use to make entries, I'm seeing a market move towards the Braves. We're looking at a home team winning 70% plus of the time, covering the run line 63% plus of the time, and games going under at an extremely high clip. And even that market is very, very sharp, meaning the line movement, this team has been so telling and indicative of what's going to happen in the game. And, there's so many different ways to look at a market, and I could talk about this one all day long because I've hammered this spot, because I'm looking for confluence, right? You want the matchup to be in order as well. So you have a great market. You want the matchup to be in order. I look at Lopez, and I've talked about fading him. Then I did. I dipped my toes in the water of fading him, and I paid the price. He threw another gem. Right now, 1.15 ERA, a 0.96 WHIP, a 3.65 xERA. So some regression there, and that's obviously going to happen, be the case. But through this point in the season, he's another Cy Young candidate. And I'm not saying that's going to continue, but I am saying I like the matchup and what he's doing against this lineup. Miami's fifth in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. They're mashing right-handed pitching. I expect that to regress sharply over the coming weeks. The numbers are skewed. If you look at the game log versus right-handed starters, we're talking about Brady Singer, Eric Fetty, Shane Smith, who, he has some great outings. He also has some blow-up outings. And then Lorenzen, who rolls out of bed and gives up 9 earned. So I want to fade this Marlins offense coming out of a game where they put up a shit ton of runs. And then on the other side, you got Meyer on the mound. He's got a 3.68 xERA, 1.36 WHIP. He's been pretty damn good, but he's gotten away. He's gotten away with some lucky bullshit. Let me tell you, I've physically witnessed it. He would give up hard contact with the bases, traffic on the base path. He's got a 5.37 xERA. Yeah, his walk rate is up from last year. His K rate is down. His 3 starts, the Reds, the Yankees, and the Rockies at home. So he played the Rockies at home, not at Coors. It's not an impressive resume, especially knowing the Yankees are struggling so mightily. And I expect Meyer to regress towards his xERA, right? There's an over 2-point gap there. And I expect that to close over the coming weeks. Just like the Marlins bats, I expect them to regress. So we're looking at a spot with a good matchup, a great situational spot, because you got the Braves coming off a embarrassing loss and a letdown spot. This is the Sunday night fade last night. They got smoked. So it's a great situational spot, a good matchup, but it's an even better market environment, a fantastic market. As long as this price closes over minus 150, I'll be a very happy camper with my action, even if I don't close with value. I just want to see that close above minus 150. I'll be extremely happy. I'm on the Braves. Anybody? I want to see anybody in chat coming with me or fading me, because I'm sure that there's got to be some Marlins love out there. They've been a sharp side quite a bit, and that's one thing I want to say about this market. When you start plugging in the sharp side, being the Marlins, the road team in the spot, it just gets out of hand. Like, you wouldn't even believe the samples. You'd think I've manipulated or I've cooked the books essentially if I showed you the market history of what happened. The sharps get hammered in this spot, absolutely hammered. So I do like the Braves. I'm willing to go to bat with the Braves today. All right, let's keep rolling. Twins, Red Sox, and this probably has changed because I was looking at this market and it's right back. Like, this market has been pretty much neutral. I want to check a few books here because I was interested in this game, but I want to see some dang line movement, and I'm not seeing anything here. Got on BOL. I mean, we got a 7-cent move. This U-shape, double U-shape. It's just toggling back and forth. Very hard market to read and to profile the history of it. We're seeing a lot of the action coming in on the Red Sox, which I'm also surprised to see based on what we've seen from these two teams. And if we look over at Odds Logic, let's see what we have. We're looking at 52% of bets on Boston, 56% of cash on the Twins. So there's just a mixed bag no matter where you look. I don't feel very comfortable with this market history. And honestly, this is a situation where if the total's between 7.5 and 8.5, right? Like the average total, because between 7.5 and 8.5, that's an average total, right? Over 60% of all totals fall between 7.5 and 8.5. The average total in the MLB is 8.5. So if the game is priced with a total that's very close to that, it favors the home team in a massive way, 60%. Then if you look outside that range, you look at the outlier totals, right? You look at less than 7.5 or over 8.5. When the total is an outlier territory, we gain so much information. The low total would probably indicate that there's a great pitcher on the road team, an average pitcher on the home team. The high totals indicate that the home team's pitcher is probably extremely vulnerable because they've gotten hammered in those outlier markets. We don't have that here. I was hoping we can get there, but it's going to stick right at 8, to 8.25, call the total right now. To a pitching situation that I would like to back Gray. I would want to fade Abel, coming off the best start of his career, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, no runs, and was lucky to do so. I got out of multiple jams with the bases packed. He doesn't get ground balls. His low K rate. I really wanted a reason to back the Red Sox. Unfortunately, we did not get the confluence with the market. So this is a pass for me. But Red Sox smash, I'm sure Nasty Nate would be cheering right now. Red Sox smash. Spoon is on the Marlins. Yeah, I trust me. I mean, I just don't know. Like, after a team gets embarrassed like they did, just like they embarrassed the Guardians. And what did I do? I faded the Guardians. I was right there with Jose on the Cardinals yesterday. And what happened after they got smashed? They went on the road with no rest and absolutely smoked the Cardinals and looked great doing it. I'm expecting the Braves to look sharp today. All right. So I can't, I'll just keep talking about that damn game. I spent probably too much time with it. All right, let's keep cooking here. White Sox, Rays. And I can tell you right now that I don't even have to look at the market. I mean, we know that the public is going to be piling on McClanney. And sure enough, that's exactly what's happening in the spot. God, I hate how they organize these games on the live odds page. This is annoying. Chicago White Sox odds 6-7. Yeah, everyone's 6-7% of bets, 81% of cash is coming on the Rays. Line's slightly moving, not enough to be very convincing based on how much action we have. Both the sharps and the public alike are coming down the Rays, and I completely understand that. I don't know much about the pitching situation. I don't know who McClanahan is at this point. I mean, he's got a 4.33 xERA. White Sox are 20th versus left-handed pitching. I mean, it looks kind of appealing to me, but it also feels like the price is a little bit short because who do we have on the mound for the White Sox again? I believe it is Schultens, if I remember correctly. Noah Schultz, but I thought we had a primary. Yeah, see, this is going to be a pass for me. I'm not getting a good read on the matchup, the market, or the situation, to be honest. So White Sox and under spot. The Rays lineup is a shell of itself versus left-handed pitching. Yeah, see, that's the thing is like I didn't know who the hell was pitching in this game when I was capping it. And then I realized like this market isn't going anywhere favorable either. So why spend so much time with it? Let's keep running. But I like your spot, Am. If anything, I'd be riding with you on this White Sox and under. I mean, yeah, no chance I get there. Brewers, Blue Jays, and this is a spot I do like. So the Brewers are slowly they were becoming, until now maybe, a public sweetheart. Even though you look at Action Network and you're going to see all the action, 60% of bets and cash coming in on the Milwaukee Brewers. And if you look at Odds Logic, 76% of bets, 59% of cash coming in on the Brewers. I'm not surprised to see this. Most books move this 5 cents towards Milwaukee. I actually want to see what Circa did in this market. I was looking at this earlier. It actually moved it 7 cents towards the Toronto Blue Jays. So we're seeing a discrepancy in the marketplace. Let me see if that still stands. It's back to neutral. So they moved together, right? This is back to where it opened. And I look at the matchup, think about the two teams, and I start to like the spot. I think about the situation and what these two teams have been. And I think we have alignment here and some confluence because Misiorowski, what I'm seeing from him right now is absolutely insane. A 42% K rate. It's probably number one in the MLB, a 3.10 xERA, a 104 whip. Now, there are some veteran lineups that I do get concerned about with Misiorowski because they can take advantage of him, I feel like. I don't know if that's the Blue Jays at this point. I know they have some veteran talent on their team, but they're largely a young unit. And Misiorowski, I mean, the best part about Misiorowski is he's lights out at home. He's very comfortable in there in that indoor stadium over there in Milwaukee. I expect him to post a quality start in this spot. And Gausman, I don't know what to expect, which is part of the reason why I like it. I mean, right now he's pitching, above his career average at the moment, and by far. Maybe he's on the juice. I expect regression from him. Why has he pitched so well? All three of his starts have been at home. His first two starts were against the Rockies and the A's, where he combined for 12 innings pitched, 3 hits, and 1 earned run. Then he plays the Dodgers, gives up 3 runs. I'm not saying he didn't pitch good. It's a quality start versus the Dodgers, 3 runs. He went pretty deep. And I look at the situation and just thinking about how these bats have performed, right? Toronto's 21st versus right-handed pitching. The Brewers are coming off an L5 on a 5-game losing streak. And that's the thing. That's where I kind of go wrong and go against the grain here because, I'm already at 4:30. I gotta get my ass moving here, boys. Yeah, I'm on the Brewers money line. I think it's a great spot after an L5, whereas the Blue Jays, travel after a homestand. I know they're coming off some losses too, but I expect Gausman to regress. Misiorowski's better. So I'm on the Brewers money line. Next up, we got the Cardinals and the Guardians. This line has moved to less than 5 cents pretty much all day, and we're seeing the cash and we're seeing a lot of action coming. People want to fade the Cardinals. The action's coming in on Cleveland, and I completely understand that. Looking at McGreevy, the Cleveland versus right-handed pitching, 27th. It's unusual to see a team that's stacked with lefties so bad versus right-handed pitching. The matchup puts me on the Guards. The market puts me on the Cardinals for that reason. It's a pass. But I would have to side with the market, which would be the Cardinals. So it's Cardinals or pass for me. Next up is the Astros and the Rockies. We got a lot of the 31% of the bets. We're seeing sharp action coming in on the Rockies, and that wasn't the case on Odds Logic earlier today. And it is the case on Odds Logic now. Sharp action coming in on the Rockies. This line really hasn't moved. The total really hasn't moved. Database has Rockies and under is where it's at. Lorenzen and Gordon, in my opinion, are two pitchers that cannot be trusted. You can't sell low on Lorenzen at this point. And I want to back the Astros because they have a revenga, right? They just got swept by this team. I expect revenge, but I am not moving on this game. But it would be Astros or pass. All right, I think we're coming up to my last game with action, or my personal last action on the board with the Padres and the Mariners. And I do like this market setup for the San Diego Padres. 63% of bets coming in on Seattle, 54% of cash coming in on the Padres. We're seeing a largely stagnant market. I mean, between 2 and 5 cents one way or the other. It's been toggling back and forth all day long. And that's a great market history. Home teams are 59% plus straight up when we see opens and closes in this tight range, this tight window. We're talking about a 123 game sample. That's a big sample. 123 games, 59% or better, depending on what variables you choose to include. I like Wu. I like King, especially at home. Maybe I'm overvaluing the home situation, but if you look at the Seattle Mariners, what have they done on the road versus right-handed pitching? Small sample, but they're worse than the MLB. I'm on the Padres. I got a plus 106. We get to the Athletics and the Rangers. Last night I was heavy on the Rangers in the over. Felt very fortunate to get the over because the Athletics did not do a lick for me in that game. And it made me wonder why I didn't just back the team total over if I'm on the Rangers and the over. It made no sense. I really got to address my gaps there because that's an issue I have. 65% of bets, 50% of cash is coming in on the Rangers, and I'm not surprised to see that. And I actually I want to be on the Rangers in this spot, but I'm just not getting the market to come along with me. And right now you're seeing a lot of the action coming in on the Rangers. So I'm not exactly sure what to do with the spot. We're seeing some slight movement, and you can look at either book. I mean, it's a very small move towards the Rangers. Market history would suggest value on the home team, value on the over. I want the Rangers. I want the under. I don't have enough to move here. I wish I could talk about this pitching situation because this is a fascinating pitching matchup with Gore and Springs on the mound, two left-handed pitchers, two guys posting, sub 1 whips and sub 2.5 xERAs. And I just both offenses, right? 27th or worse first left-handed pitching season to date. I think Springs is a bet-on pitcher. I don't know what to do in this game. I did not move on it, but I would be looking towards the under in this matchup. I also think that this market, out of all the markets that we have available, this is one that's not necessarily moving so swiftly to the over. See some juice in towards the under. So I'd be looking towards the under in that game, and I might move on it later in the day. Next up, we got the Dodgers and the Mets, and it's no surprise to see, right? No one wants to back the Mets or the Dodgers at this point. Nobody wants to back the Dodgers at this point. And if you know the criteria for a cash, nobody wants to back the Mets at this point. Everyone wants to back the Dodgers, and the line's moving accordingly. Don't get me wrong, but I talk about the cash cow market. One of the main criteria is I don't bet the cash cow market unless we see a total greater than 8 or better. We don't want to see these low totals. This game is telling me that this game is probably going to go under, and I believe both pitchers are in a great matchup. And honestly, I think Mets have a better starting pitcher. At worst, it's a wash. So if you're telling me that the pitching matchup is largely a wash, then how big is the discrepancy in the offenses? Is it enough to justify a minus 220? This is a bet I might make. I'm not expecting to win, but knowing in the long run, it'll pay dividends. I'm looking towards the Mets in this spot. You faded Wu? Yeah, I know. I faded Wu in his last outing as well. I did. I faded Wu, and he pitched great. He got hit up. I was pissed off that they didn't get to him, the Rangers, that is, when he went into Texas. I was pissed off that they didn't score runs in the first 5 because they had him on his heels. But he pitched out of it. He's a great guy, great pitcher. I faded him in a very similar market not too long ago and successfully, so I'm going back to the well. Yeah, the lineup gap is pretty big, but how big? This is egregiously big. All right, I actually think I got back to on pace there. I didn't think I would. I'm slamming waters over here because my throat, I'm a little sick. I mean, I've been sitting in this damn chair since 5 a.m., absolutely grinding. Sell spreadsheets all day, in the books all day, looking for an edge. So I'm on my last here. And maybe when I'm done, hopefully today we have a little bit more time and maybe I could circle back. Great work, Troy. Thanks, Dizzy. Thank you, man. You know I'm grinding this MLB card. You know I'm grinding. And I actually grinded a little bit for the first time in a long time on the NBA card. because I was actually interested with some of the things I seen. It made me want to dive a little bit deeper. So let's turn it over to the NBA. Let's start talking about these playing games. The first one is obviously the one that's most captivating to me with the Heat and the Hornets. And let me actually update this because this was way earlier in the morning. And yeah, we're seeing the same thing. I mean, we're seeing largely 50-50 splits on the side. And let me toggle everything. Let me get all this updated actually, because we got the MLB up. We got to get this basketball going, man. Because I actually like this spot. And I'm wondering what my mi familia is on. Yeah, we're looking at 53. Yeah, we're seeing 50-50, 50-50. I mean, people like the Heat, people like the Hornets. And I find that to be pretty interesting because this line moved from 5.5 to 6, and it's starting to juice. Like at Circa, it's juiced to minus 115. So the cash flow is largely 50-50. The line's moving towards the Hornets. The total's absolutely climbing, and it came all the way back. This total was up at 230 earlier today, back to 227. Based on the regular season, I have market history not applicable in this spot at all. We have 2 games to reference where the Hornets were at home against Miami. That was 3-6. They were laying 7.5. The Hornets lost by 8. On 3/17, the line adjusted. Now the Hornets were laying 5.5. The Hornets won by 30. And that's not even a full month ago at this point. That's about a month ago. Now this line opens back at 5.5. I feel like we should have expected this. So like if you're betting for just CLV, you look at the market history between these 2 games. You have the home road dichotomy. You have the line functionality. You want to see what the price was in these games when you start playing teams multiple times in a season. It's way more valuable in college basketball, but because of the NBA, the injury reports and everything. But still, line functionality in the spot, I feel like it's pretty neutral, but I would say the line move to me is pretty strong. Now it's going through the 2 possessions. The 2 questions I have in the matchup: who's going to win the rebounding category? I mean, both teams are really quality rebounding, top 10 in both offensive and defensive rebound percentage. But my question really is, can the Heat defend the 3-point shot? I mean, they're 17th in opponent 3-point percentage. They allow the 5th most attempts in the NBA. And thinking about how Spoelstra likes to play defense, it does seem like it might be a little bit old school at this point. It might be a little bit of a problem. I finally got to watch some Spoelstra, some Heat games this year, and I feel like, looking at the defense and the shell approach, the switch everything, we might see a zone defense today. They allow a lot of 3-point shots, and that's not good in today's NBA, especially versus the likes of a team, the Charlotte Hornets, who be jacking them up at the highest rate in the NFL, in the NBA. I look at the backcourt for Miami too, and I don't think that they have the type of effort or defense on the perimeter. I mean, you have Tyler Herro and Norman Powell. Those guys cannot play defense. They're not good defensive basketball players. Davion Mitchell's elite, but he can only do so much, right? There's so many ways you could free a guy up from one defender. So to me, it's pretty clear why is the line moving towards the Hornets and the over. Now it came all the way back. I lean towards the Hornets. I lean towards the over. But I'm off that game for now. But I am interested. Thank you, Newt. Thank you, Newt. Maybe you could help me out when the NHL comes around, because that's where I'm going to need it. I'm not pronouncing goalie names today either. I mean, I'm going to have to fold my hand when it comes to pronouncing Russian goalie names. Great. Yeah, Dizzy. Who we got in here? Is anybody? Yeah, AM. I might be rolling with you. Mets, Dodgers, under 8. You got an under 8 now, huh? I'm going to have to circle back on that one. All right, let's get it. We got the Suns and the Blazers. This is a game I'm way more neutral on. I like the Hornets based on what I see. I don't really like any side in this game. Again, I'm pretty sure we're seeing a little bit of we're seeing this market move now. Now we're starting to dip below the 3s, dip below the 1 possession. That might be too far. I mean, I really wanted to back the Blazers. I like the composition of their roster. I know that earlier today, a lot of the cash was coming in on the Blazers and the line was moving their way. It is still a sharp action coming in on the Blazers. So the side open 4, it's down to 3. It's heading towards 2.5. The line functionality is not very clear because of the injury situation. I like the Blazers to get this done. I would not get in the way of this line movement, even though I'm tempted to. I'm really tempted to, just knowing the regular season markets and how that's played out historically. True Teller, I feel you on that. Live betting the Suns, live betting in the NBA is probably a hell of a way to make money. hell of a way to make money, but you really have to stay on it, man. I mean, you have to have a plan. You have to execute the plan. And I thought about a lot about it, about just focusing on live betting markets, but I just don't have the time to spend. I'm watching my action. I'm profiling. I'm adding plays to the database, adding history to the database. It's hard to do that. But live bets in the NBA, it's where it's at. All right, that's it. Now we're going to have to get into the NHL, which, as always, is going to be a little bit of a struggle for me, as this is new to me. This is a new territory for me, but I do fall in love with the markets and how they work and how they interact with the results of the game, and that's starting to happen in the NHL. I remember last week I was shocked to see like the 5-cent line moves, the very small, minute, very hard to see, not visible line moves. They're very small last week. Not the case today, as we've seen multiple 50-cent line moves, multiple 35-cent line, like all over the board here. And I know we're getting towards the end of the season. It makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about the first game up, which is the Bruins at home versus the Devils. We're looking at 57% of bets, 76% of cash on Boston. Bookies have responded to all that cash because they moved this 20 cents in their direction. The Devils, disappointing season, coming to an end tonight, and the Bruins can clinch the number one wildcard spot to win. And it's unclear how motivated they're going to be able to do that. But at the same time, you look at this line move, you look at the sharp action coming in. This is not a spot, especially at this time in the season, that I'm willing to step in front of that type of line move. And this is a price range that I think is completely. Let me get over here. I got to get one thing up here just to make sure I'm on the same page. Yeah. There's no way I can get it. This is totally a digestible money line price. I'll be looking towards the Bruins in this spot. Give me the Bruins. Yeah, Locker. Yeah, Millsy. You know, the mean mug, man. That's a staple. That's a staple on the South Side in Chicago, man. All right, let's get to the next game. We got the Islanders and the Hurricanes. And the Islanders, hey, man, they greased my palms. They put money in my pocket last time I was on the show. Thank you to Jimmy the Bag. They were in the cash cow market. Now now it's a little bit different, right? 75% of bet, 69% of cash coming on the Islanders. The bookies, I mean, honestly, it's not that much different, right? The bookies are showing a massive amount of concern. But we're not looking at minus 250, not the right price range. But I would say that the Hurricanes have nothing to play for at this point. They've clinched the number one seed in the East. The Islanders, they've been eliminated from the playoffs, but this is the only way the new head coach, this is his fourth game as coach. So he's signed on for next year. His players are going to have to prove they're willing to compete. And I think that they're going to show them tonight. I know Jimmy the Bag had already moved and crushed this line by 50 cents. This line's minus 162. Pretty sure he got it at a non-juiced pick. And respect. A lot of respect, because I know he did that all over this board today. Absolutely shit on this NHL card. So, yeah, I would be Islanders. I would have to be rocking with Jimmy, and I'm tempted to move on it with him. They grease my palms. Maybe I go back to the well. All right, this is another team. If there's two teams that have greased my palms, it's the Islanders and it's the Philadelphia Flyers, who are at home against the Montreal Canadiens. And the Canadiens, they don't control their own destiny. But if they win, they force Lightning to have to win their game tomorrow night to clinch the number 2 seed in the Atlantic and get home, first round home field, home ice advantage. The Flyers clinch the playoffs. They've been boozing all night. We know they've been partying. I've been backing this Philadelphia Flyers team. I have a guy in my Discord who has me on the Flyers and has put money in my pocket with the Flyers. Tonight he's saying, fade them boys. And Jimmy the Bag also is on the Canadiens. This might have to be another addition because I think I have a lot of confluence here between Jimmy the Bag, the two sharpest NHL cappers I know. For all I know, that they're the sharpest. They've only put money in my pocket. So what can I say? Jimmy got this line, Canadiens minus 125. What are we looking at? It's minus 218. This line's moved 100 cents. Come on. It's got to be the Canadiens. All right. Let's go to the next game. And we go to a team, the Columbus Blue Jackets, who, for whatever reason, every time I do this show, I want to bet the Blue Jackets for some reason. 88% of bets, 90% of cash is coming on the Capitals. And again, just pretty similar to last Thursday, we're seeing a line move towards the Blue Jackets. And that would be the side I'm looking at in this spot. Let me pull this up. Let's see what Circuit did with this line. Because I did lose money last week with the old Blue Jackets here. But I might have to go back to the well. Let's see. We got Columbus. You have all the action coming in on Washington. And Circa took this line. They moved it from minus 125 Columbus to minus 146 Columbus. Looks pretty damn appealing to me. Two teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs. They have nothing to play for. See, it's funny. Jimmy the Bag. Jimmy the Bag. He loves a bum fight, except when it comes to his sport. He wants to see good quality hockey, not this bullshit riffraff. Okay, I want to be on the Jackets today. If I had to bet it, I'd definitely be on the Jackets. All right, let's keep rolling here, man. Let's go Minnesota Wild, Anaheim Ducks. 80% to bet. See, last week we had a lot of split decisions with cash flow. This week it's pretty straightforward. All the action's coming in on the Ducks in this spot. The line moved significantly in their favor, 20 cents no matter what book you look at. And the Ducks can still win the division and procure home ice advantage in round one. They are a bad road team. They've been all season, but they're going to be all in for this game. And I know Jimmy the Bag would tell everyone in here that the Ducks are a must bet. And I'm not gonna waste time here. I'm gonna bet the Ducks as I transition to the next game. So I'm gonna be on the Ducks. You know, it's definitely gonna be fractional units relative to what I'm betting in the MLB, but it's definitely when I see something like that, I gotta move. So we are on the Duckies tonight. We're on the Ducks. Unfortunately, we're going to be taking a massive price here, but nonetheless, it's not going to change my decision. The decision is made. Give me Ducks or give me death. Give me Ducks or give me death. All right, let's keep rolling. We got the Mammoth. We got the Jets. 90% of bets and cash. All the cash coming in on one side or the other in the NHL card today. Coming in on Utah, the line moved 20 cents in their direction. So the bookies are very responsive to this cash, to the public sentiment. The Jets are, on the second half of a back-to-back after losing to Vegas last night. And if the Mammoth win out, they can clinch the number one wild card, make a much easier route in the playoffs, in the Pacific Division. That's very important to them. I'm sure it is, right? You want to be able to secure a home ice as much as humanly possible. And I don't know, Jimmy, on this one. Yeah, I do believe Jimmy is on this one. So Jimmy is on Utah. He's got -1. Utah -1 because this is a pretty steep money line price, but I'd be looking towards Utah as well. This is a Mammoth. We're approaching a cash cow profile. I want to see that get over 210. Okay, so we get over to the Avalanche and who are at the Flames. 64% of bets, 89% of cash coming out of Calgary. The line dropped about 15 cents in the Calgary's favor in this spot. Home dogs. I find that line move to be very appealing. Colorado's on the second half of a back-to-back. They won their game against the Oilers last night, a shootout. They have nothing to play for. They clinched the number one seed overall. We expect them to rest players tonight, and I'm pretty sure that's partially why we've seen this line movement. And obviously the Flames have been eliminated, but they are a young team. They're going to bring effort to the ice, and that'd be good enough. That'd be good enough for me. Jimmy the Bag absolutely destroyed these lines. He got +150 on Calgary. You know the difference? You know the difference in the break-even point for +150 to +125? That's a massive. That's a 5% edge just on the market. The line move alone. Jimmy captured 5% on this bet. Do you know the bookies would break your kneecaps if they knew you had a 5% edge? They would break your kneecaps. They would never let you even near. They would trespass you so fucking fast. You wouldn't even get one bet off. 5%. Cheers, Jimmy. Cheers. You're going to have a great night tonight. All right, we got the Blues. We got the Penguins. 85% bets. All the action coming in on the Blues. The line moved damn near 100 cents. This is cash cow material. And then, I want to bet it. So I get, and then I find out Jimmy the Bag's got a -110 price on this Blues. How do you get -110? 100% move. I feel jealous. Makes me hesitant. Maybe I could put him in a parlay here. I got some time yet with this game. The Penguins have nothing to play for. They clinched the number two seed. They're going to be resting players. The Blues are eliminated, but they're, still playing hard. Playing hard under their head coach. Yeah, and I would be on the Blues in this spot, but I can't. Maybe this one I just let go with over 100-cent move. That's insane. I know I am. Like, I'm looking at these. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked looking at these moves. And again, that's what I want to see. When I'm looking at market history and I'm making the entries and I'm trying to gather samples, I want to see these outlier events. I want to see really high totals, really low totals. I want to see all the cash flow on one side of the line moving the other way. I want to see outliers because that's where the edges are to be found, right? Those where the gaps are in the bookies algorithm. They're supercomputers. Supercomputers, they're vulnerable too. They're vulnerable too. Not everything is accountable by a computer. But I'm not going to be going head to head with it. I just want to read it. I just want to read what that supercomputer is doing and then exploit it based on the history of what that algorithm has done historically. So yeah, I'd be looking towards the Blues in that spot. Last game up on the card, we got the Canucks, we got the Kings, and the Kings are also. There's a lot of these teams on the second half of back-to-back. After clinching a playoff berth last night, they covered the run line. They covered the 1.5 against Seattle. And if they win, they force the Mammoth to keep winning to get the number 1 seed in the Western Conference for the wild card, I believe. And I believe that they're going to be going hard for it. The Canucks are the worst team in the league, but they've won 2 straight. This is their final home game of the season, so we expect them to play hard. I want to be on the Canucks in this spot. I want to be with the Pub Sports Radio gang. That's the way I'd be looking. This line is moving towards them. I mean, I think this is one of the only spots where we've seen a discrepancy. Yeah, 70% of bets coming in on Los Angeles, 74% of cash coming in on Vancouver. Right? So we got this huge discrepancy in cash flow. We got the market responding by moving this line down. The Canucks, I think they must be betting this spot, right? That's the way I'd be looking in that spot. My brain is a supercomputer. It absolutely is. It absolutely is, but it's flawed, right? It's flawed, bro. We all have natural sin. We're all flawed individuals. We sweat our action. We smoke weed. We drink. We do stupid shit as human beings. Supercomputers don't do that shit. They don't sleep. They're grinding nonstop, 24/7, updating their models, self-updating their own models. Very flawed. Yeah, me too, man. We all are. AOD, good to see you in chat, man. This is so nasty motherfucking Nate. We on Boston today? I know we got Boston. I know you like the Red Sox. I wanted the Red Sox today, Nasty Nate. I did. I really wanted the Red Sox today. No Bellinger, Jazz, Ben Rice, and the Yankees lineup. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. As that line moved, that'd make me a happy camper. And 5 cents. 5 cents. I mean, I don't know. I still like my spot, but I'm surprised it wouldn't have moved more after that, hearing that news. What else we got? Who else is in here? What up, Millsy, oldie? Man, I've been in the data all day, bro. All day. I'm trying to figure out a good way to format. I did have some graphics that I wanted to post on screen, but like I said, I mean, I didn't get a link. I had some technical difficulties with receiving the link, and I couldn't get it up, and it's why I couldn't show the graphics. I had some graphics today that I think you'd be very interested in. And it's just to add credibility to what I'm saying, because I'm not just spewing bullshit. I manually make these entries. I got over 5,300 games in the MLB database. Same for NFL last 3 seasons. NCAA is under construction. It's already over 1,000 games. I love these markets. I love doing this. I love finding an edge. I love when bookies back me off the blackjack table, when they limit me on a sports book, which sometimes I get a little offended when they don't. And why would they after the NCAA basketball season? I struggled again. It's time to get right here today, boys. That's going to wrap it up for the closing line for April 14th, 2026. Thank you. Sincerely, I say thank you to everybody who came out to support not only myself, but Pub Sports Radio. Obviously, we couldn't do this show without you guys. And I really appreciate all you guys. I know I've seen a couple of your names for years, man. And I was in the shadows, like I said. just learning, watching as I transitioned out of COVID from playing poker and traveling to Indiana to play blackjack, to sports betting. And I found the right spot. So yeah, thank you to everyone for supporting us. I'm Troy Torrance. I'm here every Tuesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern to represent Pub Sports Radio in the closing line. But my comrade Pete Loshak is going to be here every other day to deliver the goods, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like I said earlier, my ass has been parked in this seat since 5 a.m. sharp, looking for an edge. Now it's time for the hard work to pay off. Good capping, good luck, and I'll see your ass on Thursday.
It's easier to sleep in the black. When you're losing your ass and feeling so, you know what to do. Tune in to Pub Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Debbie and the fam, Dutch wine time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.